So, this is day 2. And every time I come and go to talks, which has been actually up until Utrecht, the Agile Testing Days in Utrecht, I hadn't been to an Agile conference in 3 years, something like that. And I just given up. I'd given up on Agile conferences because it's the same shit, different day. But what was really cool was I got this invite to come to Agile Testing Days Utrecht, and I was like, that's a community I haven't really infiltrated yet. Let me go see what it's like. And it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And technically, I went to another conference last week, but it wasn't a conference. It was like a refugee camp. It was like 42,000 people in Dublin. So that doesn't really count. So this is my second conference, really, in 3 years. So, and every time I do one of these, I think I'm going to fuck with the people a little bit. So indulge me a little bit. We have two halves of this room, and this looks like a playground to me. So I want you guys on this side, on the count of 3, to say hi to these guys on this side, okay? Ready? And when they say that, you say, fine, thank you. All right, on this side, 1, 2, 3. Hi. There we go. Let's start this thing. So, test beyond quality, test beyond software. Let me help you get some context about where I fit into in the universe. Okay? This is me. Based on my genes, I look younger than I actually am. I'm 41 years old. What that means is I have an 18-year-old daughter. Do I look 41? Good. You all get free tickets next year, don't they, Jose? The reason I show this is not an ego rub. It's to share with you that I'm seeing shitloads of big companies. Okay? I'm the guy that goes to shitloads of big companies. And, oh, sorry, I should have said about the swearing. Okay, I swear quite a bit, but it's quite tasteful. So I see shitloads of big companies, and I see shitloads of teams and people in big companies, not just engineering teams, but everybody. I see managers, I see VPs, I see testers, I see janitor people, I see HR, I see all these people. That's why I share this with you. And if you want to hire me, you can't, because I'm booked till 2017. Sorry about that. Okay? Why am I here? I'm here to do these 4 things. There's a story why. When we did this in Utrecht, there was only the poke. And there was a little bit of a war between me, Rachel Davies, and Olaf Levitz over there. Rachel said she wanted to provoke. She said she wanted to provoke, right? And I'm like, I'm going to fucking top that. I'm going to poke, I'm going to provoke, I'm going to instigate, I'm going to tease, I'm going to inspire, come up with a new thing. So, but really, I thought about it. This is what I want to do. Okay, and I'll share why in a minute. So if you're unwilling to have any of these 4 things done to you, you might want to leave right now. Okay? So, let me ask you this question. What would you do if you cared enough? Cared enough about either your health, so we had human refactoring yesterday, right? And it was predicated on this idea that you cared enough to look after yourself. Clearly, you're at an Agile Testing Days, so you care enough about learning. Okay? But what would you do if you cared enough about your organization, the company you're in, the business you're in? What would you do? All right? Hold that thought for a minute. But what would it take for you to care enough? What would you need to hear, feel, touch, be touched, whatever, so that you could care enough? Think about those. So let's locate this idea. The reason I put this up is because I go to these Agile conferences, in fact, generally any kind of conference, and they've got a mix of audiences, all right? So I don't judge. If you come in and there's a whole bunch of things about integrated testing and TDD and all that, that is the now. All those technologies are now. 5 years ago, they were 5 years old. They were ahead of their time, all right? So this idea that I'm about to share with you is not the now. It's at least 5 years in the future. All right? So I'm helping you manage your expectations. By the end of this, you go, that Mike Sutton is fucking nuts. It's because I'm from the future, dudes. All right? So I believe that at this moment in time, there are people ahead and there's people behind, either in thinking or in thought or in law or in whatever. So we've got Uganda there, where they have really brutal laws about homosexuality, but it's in 2015. Okay, so that's why I want you to see. Table 2. Fuck. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Thank you. Okay, so this is where you are. It might seem familiar, but that's because you're from the future too. So, hands up. Who agrees with this statement? Work has an enormous impact on my personal growth and my overall joy. Stick your hands up if you think if it applies to you. Okay, whoever doesn't do that, wow. All right. Think about that for a minute. So you are working 8, maybe 9 hours a day, maybe 5 days a week. You probably spend more time working than you do sleeping, than you do hanging out with your family, than you do calling your mom to say I love you, than you do anything else. So surely we should be able to shape our work in a way that is sort of proportional to the importance of the work, right? You're doing it all the time, so it shouldn't be shit. All right? So here's this thing. You all work in businesses. Who works in something that is not delivering any value to anybody anywhere in the world? Okay. Some of you are doing it for profit. Great. It doesn't mean you're not a business. It doesn't mean you are doing something of value. So, a year ago, pretty much, I was working with a client, Cisco, and I also work with startups, and I've been playing with startups for a long time. And there's a great book by a guy called Steve Blank, and he says this thing about a startup is an organization, just a loose grouping of people that are looking for a repeatable business model. Whether it's product fit, they're looking for some fit with a problem in the marketplace that they can fix repeatedly. And then they create a business around it and a company around it, and that's what they do. That becomes a business. So I'm playing with this idea. I'm like, wow, okay, I'm in my startup world. I'm thinking, all right, what's my repeatable business model? And I'm in the car with the guy who used to look after Cisco in Switzerland, and I'm talking about this idea, and he says, and his name is Massimo, and he says, Mike, everyone's fucking searching. And I'm like, no shit. I'm like, what? Cisco's searching? He goes, yeah. Then he tells me about the $50 billion club. You know what the $15 billion club is? No, neither did I. And the $50 billion club is an exclusive club of businesses that generate $50 billion worth of revenue every year. 50 billion. That's a lot of zeros. I couldn't even fit it on there. And I'm like, wow. Imagine trying to break that ceiling. And we had this long, convoluted conversation about how this particular company was hovering and they couldn't really make it, and every time they made it and they came down, the market would kick them around and say, you're not good enough and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, dude, this is big. Everyone's got a ceiling they're trying to break through. Holy crap. Okay. So we're searching for all kinds of things, right? It's a business model, it's product market fit, next revenue ceiling, so 50 billion, 10,000, whatever it is. Next best, yeah, and survival. Ultimately, we're looking for survival. We're searching for this thing. This talk is about searching. How do we search? Because now I figured out that everyone's searching, I'm thinking, okay, this is the domain of the known now. We know how to search, right? Google's made a multi-trillion-dollar business out of searching. So we know how to search. As long as we can frame the problem as a search, we know how to search. The question is, what's the space we're searching, and what the hell are we searching for? So, imagine, I'm gonna go here and then come back. Apparently, you can't do conference talks without cute, cuddly animals. And I think that dude is the cuddliest animal ever. It's just it's the squirrel of joy. Okay? So imagine you're a tiny startup, 3 people, 2 dogs, possibly a pet squirrel. What are you searching for? You're searching for your first 50 customers. Actually, at this point, you're just searching for anyone to fucking use your product. Okay? All right? That's your ceiling. And you are organized in a particular way to get to that to get to that goal. All right? You've got your uncles and your aunts putting stuff in their workplaces. You've got people on the trains putting stickers on the underground. You've got all kinds of guerrilla tactics to do this. All right? You're organized around that search. But there's only 3 of you, and so on. Then you start to grow. Can everyone still hear me? Because I can't hear myself. Oh, good. So you start to grow, and whatever model you found, whatever business model you found, was enough to get you to a certain point. Maybe those tactics were great to get you to the first 1,000 customers. Now what? What's the next ceiling? Okay? But at this point, you now got, 500 employees. You've got offices in New York, Dublin, and blah, 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 blah. Right? You've got all of this other stuff. You've now got to sort of sustain while you're also searching. It gets harder and harder. Okay? So I'm not sure if you can see on the right there. The higher you go, the bigger you get. When you say the bigger they are, the harder they fall, is because of this complexity. The complexity of the domain is hard, much harder. All right? I talked about Cisco a second ago, even Fidelity Investments or Maersk. Anybody work for Maersk here? You know the shipping line? 110,000 people, unless they laid people off. No, about 100,000. Imagine a 100,000 person organization trying to figure out how to make more money. They fart more money out every month than entire countries. They need so much just to survive. That's hugely complex, right? Okay. So the higher you go, the expectations are bigger. You go to the marketplace, your CEO catches a cold. You're a public company. Your CEO catches a cold, doesn't show up for the briefing about the financial future. Your stock gets a hammering. Everybody has all these expectations. Becomes really, really hard. Okay? Resources, not people. If I hear anybody say resources, people, I'm going to have to get really fucking angry. Okay? Resources, the money you can command, right? The opportunities you can demand, all this kind of stuff grows for sure, but also the complexity grows. So, how do you find a kid who's missing in the woods? Has anyone here ever lost a kid? Like for real? You've lost a kid for real? Fuck off, man. This guy is a plant. He's been added here to really make my day really hard. Has anyone lost a kid before I get really into this thing? Okay. You lost a kid? Like in a supermarket, right? Did they find the kid? Yeah. Okay, great. Phew. This was about to go really bad. Okay. So imagine you're a little town. You've lost a kid, right? What do you do? What do you do? Well, do you go to the police and go, I lost my kid? When you find the kid, bring the kid back. You don't. You don't delegate it to this one person to go and find the kid. It's too important. It's too big a problem, right? Generally, for centuries, what we've decided is we find a search space and we get as many eyes as possible searching for it. Makes sense, right? Okay. What kind of leadership do you think occurs in a line like this? Is there any one person? Let me give you an option. Is there anyone in here that says, I know how we're going to search for this, follow my lead? No. What kind of leadership do you think would work with this, something like this? Who would be a good leader in this lineup? Feel free to say anytime now. We got all fucking night. Everyone. So, let's imagine you find a sock. So you're on this line, you're walking around, you find a sock. You know what a sock is, like a sock. Okay. You find a sock. What you do in this line is you announce, I found a sock. Because everybody needs to know that. You broadcast it, so everybody needs to know this, right? This is getting complex. It's complex because what's at risk, the life of a child, is pretty big. Okay? What we need is as many eyes searching for it. And what we end up having to do is coordinate better. Yeah? There's none of this sort of top-down leadership. So it's a decent example. Now, if we unbundle it, we say, why is this search complex? Well, it's uncertain. We don't know where the kid is. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the woods, would we? It's risky because we might get hurt. The kid might get lost. The kid might be in a hole and is running out of oxygen. We don't know. There's an element of risk there. And no one single person is gonna miraculously find the kid. Okay, we all have to use our skills and our passions to bring it to the task at hand. The giveaway word here is intelligently applied. And when I take that intelligently applied and I bring it back to big companies, I'm like, okay, I'm only left with applied because the intelligent bit just went missing. Okay? So does anyone in this room not get what the search is? Because I will say it again and again and again. All right, we get what the search is. So then I find myself asking this question. Fucking hell, if we're searching and we need everybody to search, what does that mean for all these things, for leadership? What does it mean for the structure of our organization? What do we need to know about what we're searching for? Where do we find the new experts? How do we determine all that stuff? And this was on a Sunday. I was bored, and I was sitting down thinking about this stuff. You know, how do we coordinate? How do we coordinate? Imagine the line. Imagine a line of, I don't know, 200 people searching a really large. How do we coordinate that? How do we send the messaging around? What are the new roles in this thing if we're going to be searching? So it's a big thing. But we don't have to kind of just sit and go, I don't know. Right? There's something we can do about this. So it turns out that most business decisions are guesses, right? But they're just said with an air of certainty. Yeah, we will go in that direction because I'm the expert and I've got to say it like that. But they're guesses. And we don't experiment enough. We don't even frame them in a way that says, shit might blow up if we do this. We just say, we'll do this. We don't know what the expected outcome is, really. We know what the desired outcome is. So here's the thing: we have a problem with expected versus desired. Sometimes they get convoluted, they get mixed up, and we confuse them. But desired is what we want. Expected is what could happen, and for real is what will actually happen, right? So when I ask myself, if we're looking for a kid, or a needle in a haystack, or anything that's just really hard to find, who would I call? Who would I naturally look to help with this? Who has the mindset and the skills to design these experiments and say, I wonder what would happen if I poked that? Or how many ways could I poke that? Or if we found the sock there, what would happen if we searched there? Who in an organization do you think has that, in a tech organization? Testers. Right. Okay. So, who in here is not in an agile team? Ah, yeah. Oh, you're not in an agile team? Well done, buddy. You dodged a bullet on that one. So, in my view, these agile teams are these sort of slightly isolated groups of people where we're trying to culture new behaviors, new mindsets, new thinking. Okay? And we tend to grow them really in isolation from everywhere else or in the organization. We put them in this group. We say, co-located collaboration, comfy chairs, work on everything, cross-collaboration, all that kind of stuff. But they're bursting out. We're growing good stuff in the Petri dish. We're not really releasing it to the wild. It's like a caged animal. Yet the bigger business is operating in this uncertainty-riddled landscape. Will product X make the money we think it's going to make? Will our competitors do what we think they're going to do? Will the technology that we're all depending on, will that work or not work? Or will there be a tomorrow? All this uncertainty everywhere else. But the way we're structured right now, there's maybe 5 people with a job title to look out for it. That's like saying there's a kid missing, but just those 5 people are going to search for them. See how fucking crazy that is? Okay, you do. So, who's in an agile team again? Put your hands up again. Just remind me. Everybody but that guy. So you're in this happy, fancy agile team, and you're doing your stand-ups, and there's a dude that makes the jokes, and you're the tester. You're still a little bit underappreciated, but we're working on that. You're not killing each other, but you're just kind of humming along, okay. There's a kind of harmony that comes in agile teams. That's what we look for. That we look for this harmony, this rhythm, this happy conflict. I hate you, but I love you. I hate you, I love you. That kind of thing, right? But really, what the organization wants is this unit that is happily popping out eggs every 2 weeks, 4 weeks, all right? And guess what? You even get to say how many eggs you're going to pop out. Freedom, eh? You got this regular cadence, and you're given just enough to produce, just enough to survive, not enough to thrive, all right? But try and go to any other part of the organization, you would probably find yourselves in trouble, right? So it occurs to me that we've got this, at least we're growing, this huge potential in these organizations that have a much, much bigger problem. The search, remember that. And we don't know yet how to release it. So you're there, you're happy along, that's you, Von Traps, you're doing your thing, but everywhere else in your organization, there's all kinds of shit going on. All right, you've got the men in suits, always there. These relationships within relationships that actually make everything happen. All right, you have the really wasteful things. You have the interpersonal clashes that are happening out. Sometimes it's actually open warfare. I have a situation right now where there's just open warfare. There's a cold war between these two directors. They're peers. But what happens there is all of the people that report to both of them don't work together now, just because these two people don't. In one organization, it's not even a big one. It's like a 2,000, 3,000 person organization. Then you have the people that they're just working around. They don't really care. They've been there forever. They'll probably be there forevermore, and that's it. And then you have some people that are just firefighting. Just last week, I made this learning about the ratio of strategy versus tactical thinking at different levels in an organization. And I took this and I took it to one of my clients and I said, please help me fill this thing out. And what they found overwhelmingly is everyone's tactical. Even the people whose job is supposed to be 99% strategic. Everyone's tactical. Okay? If you want to hear more about that, we can tweet, or you can buy me a beer or two. And I can tell you a little bit about that. But there's people are firefighting in different ways. But ultimately, we're losing money. We're losing a bunch of money and opportunity cost as well. So coming back to this idea of your personal growth and your joy at work, joy in life, that's pretty important shit right there, right? Are you really happy enough to leave it to a bunch of dudes in suits? Put your hand up if you're okay for that. Yeah, all right, okay. I didn't. Sorry about this. You remember the poke and tease, and that's sorry. I do this out of love. So my invitation to you is this: your personal growth and your joy is wrapped up with the success of your organization. Like it or lump it. Okay, you have a choice to make. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to help? How are you going to help them realize the problem that they're in? And what are you going to do? You have the skills already. So it's time for these agile teams to bust out of the Petri dish. Get into whatever funky spaceship that looks like it is, and just get into your organization. You're using these skills every day. Don't just apply it to software. Apply it to people. Apply it to your organization. Ask the really hard questions. Okay, accountability. This is a real thing about accountability. So I had a nap. Let me tell you about this. So just before this talk, like at about 3 o'clock, I was like, man, I am going to die at this talk. Then I had this great idea. Have a nap. And I had a nap, and I woke up. And when I woke up from the nap, the words accountability came to mind. Okay? And so the funny thing about accountability is you have to understand what the other person's accountable for. Right? That's the first thing. You got to go, okay, what's your name, sir? Robert. Okay, so Robert, you're accountable for your own learning right now. I'm just sending a message, you're accountable for your own learning. So I come to you and I go, Robert, are you learning anything? Are you learning anything? Sure. All right? Now, my responsibility today is to just check in with him. I'm only going to do it once, because it's a fucking talk, right? But the point is, you need to understand what it is people are accountable for. So when you look at your picture of your organization, you say, who should I ask what the strategy is? Right? In your organization, put your hand up if you know who to go and ask what the strategy for meeting our growth targets are. Put your hand up. Fuck. Okay, for those who couldn't see that, it wasn't a lot of hands. Wow. Okay. Okay. So if you don't even know who to ask, you don't really know even how to help, right? So, if so far you're thinking, how the fuck do I start this? This mic has just blown my mind, kaboom. What are we going to do? How do we start? It's not as hard as you think. It's actually easier to start than to figure this shit out. So, first figure out what you bring to the search. I'm making a big assumption here. This room is full of test specialists and really smart people who are passionate about their own learning at least because they're at a conference. Think about what am I great at? What am I great at by my job, by my diverse set of experiences? What the hell do I bring to this search? I know what the search is, but what do I bring to it? And this is my guess. I guess that most people in this room love exploring shit. You're curious as cats. All right, we're going to do a little experiment now. Follow that. Come on, follow that. You ever done this with the cats? Follow that. There's people right now going, I could do it. I don't know what to do. You're curious as cats. That's a good thing. Okay? You like to mess with stuff. You like to poke with it. You go, oh, Mike is about to walk to the edge, but will he fall? Right? There's some sick shit going on in here, right? You have a desire not just to be curious, but to make things better. Okay, so this is already stuff that you're bringing as just you. How awesome is that? That's pretty freaking awesome, right? You have this passion to collaborate because you realize you don't know it. You don't know everything around this, right? This is my observations. I'm just kind of feeling to see whether you guys share this. Am I too wrong around these assumptions? No, Mike, you're absolutely spot on. Okay. Your professional learning is around designing these safe-to-fail experiments, right? It's your test scripts, it's your test environments. You design those so that you can test something and it's okay for it to break. It ain't production. So you already bring a lot to this thing. The next step is just to apply it beyond the Petri dish, beyond the battery cage. So oftentimes when I talk about this in businesses, people are like, who's going to let me? Okay? And there's a lady called Ayn Rand who, in every other aspect of her philosophy was loathsome. But the one thing that she did say that I kind of agree with is not who's going to let me, but who's going to stop me. If I want to do some shit, no one's going to stop me. I don't need permission. You don't need permission. Guess what? Your personal growth and your overall joy is tied in with the success of your company. You don't need any permission to make that shit better, right? And if you think you do, test it. Guess what? Poke the box. See what happens. Someone tells you, it's above your pay grade to do that. You go, really? Give me more money. So just assume you're invited and just proceed. Proceed as though they just don't know you. They just don't know there's a party yet. Okay? Never mind that you're not invited. So clearly there's things like job roles and management structures that get in the way, but just proceed like you're invited. They'll thank you or they'll fire you. That's okay. So the simplest thing you can do, like right now, well, two things. The first is, I didn't put a slide about this, is be okay with your dispensability. All right? Be happy to be shot. If you're unhappy to be shot, don't fucking show up. Because there's going to be people who feel threatened by you simply asking, what's our strategy? They'll be like, why do you want to know that? Who have you been speaking to? I do have a strategy, You know? So be okay with the fact that some people might get pissed off about this, and it might even cost you your job. But let me tell you what, if you even just start on this line of questioning, you'll be an asset wherever you go. Absolutely. And there are companies in the world today that value that. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. So I'll just ask questions. I have a little framework that I use to talk about. I don't really do agile, blah, blah, blah. I do value, flow, quality, and joy. Very, very few things. Whatever you decide to do, as long as you're delivering the most value, you're doing it in the smoothest possible way, it's at a level of quality that it needs to be. That's a long thing. And you're having fun, just keep doing that. And keep trying to do that all the time. That's my manifesto. So some of the questions you might ask is, what are we doing as an organization? What value are we delivering? And if they give you real fluffy fluff with lots of buzzwords in it, just probe a little bit. Who the hell are we helping with this thing? Right? Who's using? What are they using it for? Not just the money, not how much are they paying us, because that's value too, but what change are we making, enabling people to make? Ask those questions. How do we know we're actually delivering value? And they might go, because they pay us. Really, is that a good answer? I ask you, or you ask me, or somebody asks somebody. How do you know what you're doing is valuable? I'm asking you now. Because your boss said so, or because your company said so, or the financial state, whatever it is, get an answer and consider whether it's good enough. But start to think about this stuff. And one of my favorites is, what kind of organization do we want? And how do we know we're getting it? One of my clients right now, he's written it in a perfect way. He says, what do we want to be when we grow up? Okay, and I'm like, all right, that's pretty sweet. I could go with that. A 6-foot-tall person who speaks multiple languages? No, doesn't work. Another important one is, what does joy mean? We're not automatons, right? We're not just people who just show up, trade time for money, go home and get joy at home, right? We have to get joy wherever we are all the time. But what's joyful for me is probably absolute pain for Robert. Okay? But it takes some trying to find out. Somebody needs to be interested in this shit. If I'm not interested, so let's say, for example, I'm working with Robert. If I'm not interested in what's joyful for Robert, I have no way in the world of helping him attain that. So I do improv. And one of the key things about improv is be good to work with. Give your partner a good time. If I don't know what a good time is for Robert, I can't give, what's a good time for you, Robert? Yeah, never mind. We'll talk about that later. Okay. But if I don't know what that is, I can't even do it. And it's a simple question. What does joy mean for you? For some people, it's coming to conferences, being sort of having the spark of curiosity rekindled by being in a community. For some people, it's I do my job, I go home, I play Xbox, and that's all good. But at least let's know what the hell it is. Okay? But you can't do it as a blanket thing. You can't go, our joy is building software. I mean, do you see how fucking crazy that is? Our joy is building software. It doesn't exist. So we need to do the investment. In big companies, we need to do the investment in asking those individual questions. But we have these structures that treat us like groups. Junior dev, senior dev, agile tester, non-agile tester, business analyst. I mean, that's fine. It's fine. We have those groupings, but let's know where it ends and where the person comes in. Then ask some flow questions. Why does it take so long? You already do this in your code, right? You go, wow, okay, I'm waiting 4 hours. Why does it take so long? I'm trying to get a new machine in this company. Why does it take so long? I'm trying to get a pay rise. Why does it take so long? Ask these questions. Ask them, right? And the cool thing is, if you don't know who to ask them for, that's the first place you go. Who do I ask this question of? Right? Then you can start to get a little crafty. What happens if? What happens if we gave pay rises whenever people wanted them? What happens if We were able to buy a new machine whenever anybody wanted them. There was no, what happens if? Are you able to do what happens if as a tester? Those are edge cases, right? Those are what happens if, what happens if. You're doing that every day in your Petri dish. So you already have these questions. I'm inviting you to ask them beyond your team, beyond your department, in your organization. There's a good one. Do we know how good something needs to be? How good does our team need to be? How good does our company need to be? Ask those questions. I don't know what the answer is. Go where the questions lead you. The next thing is, you show up as a lone ranger, you're going to get shot down pretty damn quick. So try not to do this alone. Just find some other person for your own sanity. Because this session here doesn't come with any warranties. You get shot at work, I got nothing but love for you. Right? There's no insurance here. But as someone who sees these large organizations and tries to spark appreciation for the bigger picture, the best practice here is get yourself a gang. Hang out together. Start to go, these questions, how are we going to ask them? Who are our alliances? Who are our allies in this space that we can go and ask those questions from? How do we create safety? All those things. Easier to do it with more than one person. A, so you don't look crazy. B, so you get some meaningful answers. Because if you just do it on your own, it's a little lonely. So you can start, right? You can start doing this stuff. And like with any kind of journey that you make, it's easy to kind of just focus on the shittiness. It's easy to just go, wow, okay, it's all crap, no one's listening, I sent all these emails, they didn't work, no one's answering me, I'm just going to give up. Celebrate your little victories, okay? So I've got this, again, in this current client of mine, they had like an global all hands thing, and you could ask a question of the CEO. So I asked the question. Actually, I'm looking at someone from I'm not going to talk about that. This other company I worked at last year, I'm not naming their names. I asked this question on this global all hands thing because they had a reshuffle. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that. But, you ask these questions and you don't get an answer. You keep asking. And then you get an answer. It might even be an auto-reply. You come back to your team and go, I got an auto-reply. Someone's listening. Right? Whatever it is, just make sure you look for the little tiny glimmers of hope in an otherwise tireless, thankless job. But this kind of flows from the fact that you have at least one other person who gives a shit about this. Okay, so here's some obvious questions, because last time I did this, people were kind of like, boo, 5. Okay. So, obvious questions. Where do I find the time? I'm already 110% committed in my team. Where do I find the time to fix my organization and ensure my personal growth and overall joy? That shit isn't important. I don't know. Where would you find the time? Do less. Maybe. All right? But none of these is a reason not to do it. These are reasons to go and fix the shit that's stopping you from finding time and do it. What if I'm told to shut up and just do my job? I don't know. You will probably be told to shut up and just do your job in various passive-aggressive ways. Yes, I will take that information, but, I'd like for you to continue doing your task as it is right now, right? Which is sort of pseudo-speak for shut up and just do your job. Then you start to think, really, what skills do I need to help this search? Right, what skills do I need? Well, some of the skills you need are empathy, right? You got to immediately just go, okay, let's assume this shit is actually from the future, and no one here knows really that we should be able to qualify and define what we're searching for. So they're not doing it deliberately, and they probably is just as lost as me. So I'm going to be helping them actually. So empathy, feeling that they don't know any different either. They being everyone else. Okay? The other thing is diplomacy. You need diplomatic skills if you want to do this for the long term. Okay? Persistence and diplomacy seem like counter things. But you know the thing about slowly you boil the frog or something? That's a little sick, actually. But slowly you catch the monkey. You persist, and you massage things, and you talk to people, and you build pictures up, right? And you form alliances, and you build networks in your companies. And you promote it that way. You go charging in, you're probably going to get shot. The other thing is, hey, I got roles. My CEO should be doing this. Shouldn't someone else be doing this? This is your personal growth and your joy that we're talking about here. Possibly nothing bigger for an individual. Really? Someone else should be doing this? So, what just happened? We talked about the what's in it for you. Your goal, your joy, your growth. What's in it for us is survival as an organization. And at some point between now and later, you've got to make a choice. You know, do I want to just carry on as normal? Or do I want to poke the box a little bit and see, really, is this true in my organization? Are we missing the search? What does that look like? So that's basically it. Go do good work, be good to work with, and seek joy. Questions? Brain scooping time. Thank you. Wow, underwhelming. Whoa.
Thank you first.
Thank you. Not him. Table two? Table two.
Table two. My name is Robert Plant. Your personification of the evil management guy was as an American. What does that say about what you think about Americans? Thank you.
Wow. So I totally went non-nationalistic on that. It's funny that you spotted it as an American thing.
Clearly I'm a racist.
That's not a serious question, right? Okay, good. Any other questions?
Questions?
I know, it's 5, it's 6. I'm competing for alcohol.
Okay.
No more alcohol.
So you said to not do it alone.
Yeah.
And I get why you say that, but I kind of feel like, well, if I get so-and-so to help me in this endeavor, we'll both get shot, and I've lost my friend his job or whatever. It's like, can you really bring other people along in the risky thing?
Well, no, you can't. You can just invite them. Everyone has to choose, right? You can just invite them. But I'm betting that your friends and your colleagues all care about their own personal growth and overall joy too. And if they don't, what are you going to do? Okay, any other questions?
In one of the first slides, shown you are here.
Yep.
And on the top left, there was something related to holacracy.
Holacracy, yes.
Do you think, and that's on the top, so
Yep.
do you think that's where we all should?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I don't know if everyone knows what holacracy means. Don't know if you want to.
So holacracy is sorry. What is it? Okay, I'll tell you. Wow, was it just me, or you guys felt that deja vu thing too? Okay. So holacracy is essentially a flat structure in your organization. Essentially, in practice, it's a flat structure in your organization. No management, just stuff to do to build a successful business. And no one's hired and everyone else. We're just doing stuff as a service to the organization. Okay? So does anyone know CRISP in Sweden? There's an organization. They've been living in the future for a while now. And a few years ago, I was in a really long taxi ride with their previous CEO, Mats Plan. And I was like, Mats, you're the CEO. How's it going? He goes, don't let that fool you. Basically, there was just cards on the table of what do we want to do, and I just seemed to be the guy that picked the CEO card, not as a, right? We have equal say in this thing, but like if you unbundle the CEO thing, it's the person whose job it is to do more strategic shit, all right, and bring that to the table and go, what if this was our strategy? Each person is bringing stuff to the table. Right? And that's a holacracy. Another good example right now is a company called Buffer. They do social media, blah, 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 blah. Okay? And they're actually more famous for the way they're working internally than their product, which is good. But one of the things they brought in was salary transparency. And there's just an algorithm that works out a salary based on your own things. And the founders are just people doing stuff. The CEO is just somebody doing stuff. Everybody has a say in how this thing runs, and not even a percentage say, an equal say. Okay? What's the name of the shoe company? American guy. What's it? Zappos. Zappos is another example of holacracy. It doesn't have to mean no managers. It's not about the loss of title. It's about reducing the power dynamic. Okay? You can call yourselves whatever the hell you like. It's about that. I'm about to launch into 70s, whatever, never mind. Any other questions?
More questions?
Yeah, it had to be over there, right?
That's okay.
It's how it goes.
I need that.
I know you do.
I need that.
Getting a little pudgy on the midriff there.
I'm new.
Hi, Neil. Nice to meet you.
Hi. I'm in a big organization. It's old.
Oh,
It has a lot of structure. 800 bosses.
wow.
And I'm really new and fresh.
Yeah.
So my question is, what is the most quick and effective way that I can fuck it up? Because I've done. I've done the questions. I need to do more, obviously. But I'm at the bottom.
So, when you think about that picture I showed about what do you bring to the search, that was a generalization around Agile Tester, okay? But for you specifically, you go, I bring to the search newness, okay? I'm allowed to ask the stupid questions, right? And I'll just not rest until I have them answered, yeah? The other thing you could do is ask these questions, go, yeah, but why aren't we doing it like this, right? It's great to criticize, fantastic. I could criticize all fucking day. But if you don't bring an alternative, people generally tend to be quite defensive. So figure out like, okay, my tools right now are my newness, my objectivity, and my passion. So let me combine those. Might be a way to do it. So just say, I'm new. I'm going to ask all the awkward questions. And then you get a reputation for asking awkward questions. And that kind of becomes good too. Yeah? 800 bosses though. Wow. That's kind of fucked up. Any other
More
questions?
Yeah. I'm old.
They are messing with you. They are messing with you right now.
On this slide, another question, because you explained what is holacracy, but what is hyperloop?
Hyperloop. So you guys.
But I am not an English speaker, so perhaps
Oh,
a
maybe,
translation
okay.
issue.
So you know who Elon Musk is? Tesla, car. Laura, I'm getting nothing. I'm getting nothing. All right. Whew. Let's start with a quick history session. So Elon Musk got involved with PayPal, sold it, made a shitload of money. Right? Now he's like Tony Stark. He's just fixing all. He's just the like freakiest dude on the planet. Okay? So he made electric cars, really sexy ones. Sorry, can I say sexy in cars? Yes, I did. Right? I mean, really sexy cars. You go to Amsterdam, they're all over the airport. Really nice cars. He's done this battery thing, it's amazing. And then he came up with this really fucking radical idea of a special train between like Earth and Mars or some shit like that. Right? The technology is like a hyperloop. It kind of goes, right? And that's happening now. They've like got a site in Arizona to build this thing. Okay, it goes from San Francisco to Texas in like 17 minutes or something like that. It's crazy fast. That's future, right? Hyperloop. Okay, any other question?
More questions.
Over there, in the top corner. I'm messing.
I'm sure again a French guy.
Okay.
So more questions, guys. Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you.